Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Oh, I think I had it sit on mute. I'm telling you what, I have had tech things all morning long. Okay. Give me a thumbs up. Hopefully you can hear me now. Okay, I can hear me. All right, thank you. Okay, so I'm starting over. We will look at, let me look in the stream where we are with time-wise on this. I wonder if it'll show me. At 3 minutes and 9 seconds, you can fast forward to I got my unmute working. So thank you so much, Jan. I appreciate you telling me. Okay, so here's what we're doing. Let me just start over. Hey, my friends, happy Wednesday. If you're doing the work, if you are showing up, if you are praying about your business, that clients can still feel random and you feel like you can't predict your income or predict how you can keep consistent clients in there, then this is for you. So today we're going to talk about how to be like David with our business, where it feels like, you know, especially when our business can start feeling like a Goliath, right? And I want to talk about this not without having to hustle harder, not about doing more or having this perfect strategy. This is about staying faithful to God and knowing that He has prepared you for such a time as this. So let's dive in. Let's get started. So last week, well, Monday, inside my inner circle, inside my CEO circle, last week in the church's readings, they were going through Samuel. Every day the reading had something to do with Samuel. And so it really, of course, David and Goliath came up. And, you know, it's always a fan favorite. It's always a favorite of mine. How could it not be, right? It's the underdog, the young boy conquers the giant because God has blessed him and because he has faith, you know, and we hear all through scripture about how David has this heart for God, a man after God's own heart. I love that so much, right? Like that, Lord, I want that to be me. And so, but this story is way before he's king. It's before he's a favored warrior, before he's known throughout the realm or whatever you call it. But he's just a shepherd and he's the youngest son. And it only happened, he only happened to be there because his dad sent him to deliver food and supplies to his brothers. But when he's there, he hears the giant, right? I'm just reviewing this because it's going to be relevant to what we're saying. When he hears the giant and saying bad things about the Lord. And he's completely offended. And he's like, if no one else is going to stop him, I'll do it. He's like, it's kind of like that mama bear feeling that we get. Like, no one's going to say something about my kids, right? He was like, no one's saying anything about my God. So Saul's like, go ahead, here, take my armor. And David put it on and he knew immediately that wasn't for him. Okay, that's relevant later. Okay, hold on to that, okay? So what he knew, if he was going to face this giant, that God had already prepared him for that. And so he faced it just like he faced all the predators as the shepherd, right? So he got his slingshot and he got his 5 stones and he goes on. Now, long story short, if you don't know the story, it's in Samuel. In the Bible, David, 1 stone right in the middle of the forehead, kills the giant, wins the war. So all of this to say, what I love about this story is that it highlights some really big lessons for us as entrepreneurs, as coaches, okay? So first, here's what I want you to know. First, David was formed. God formed David first, right? So say formed in the chat. Formed. God formed David first. And here's what I mean by that. God prepared him for that moment. God prepared his faith. God prepared his skills, right? He'd spent all that time out in the fields, praying, worshiping, watching the sheep, having a nice little simple, quiet life. And God had used that simple, quiet life to prepare him for that. So tell me, yes, in the chat, have you ever felt like you're just living a nice, simple life? Like there's nothing exciting about your life. Like people just share you, and you're like, share me, share my life. All I do is like laundry, cook dinner, and wash the dishes, go to bed and start all over, right? It's nothing exciting. That's my life. There's nothing exciting. Like I have laundry to do when I finish this. My kids are still out of school from the winter storm. I have to feed them and I've got laundry to do, right? It's really simple. So what I love about this, so David was formed first. God prepared him. And in business, it's the same thing. So often we take action and then we ask God to bless it, or we approach business, or let me say this. I will do this. I will approach business as action first, not prayer first. Or I may have my prayer time, but that's, like it's very compartmentalized in my day. I'm being completely honest. It can really happen. Hey, Hope, I clicked on your live video just as you go, all right, my friends, goodbye. And I was like, then I was right there. I was coming. So it's on my list of replays for me today. So God forms us. God had prepared David. Okay. God forms us for the calling. So who we are as women, the faith we need to carry that calling, the skills we need to implement whatever strategy that calling requires. Okay. So the story with David just illustrates that. And we're going to come right back into it, but I'm going to tell you this. So Monday in my CEO circle with my clients, most of the women in there are former teachers of some sort. Okay. Sunday school teachers, homeschool, classroom teachers, they're there. Okay. And as we're going through the lesson, we're talking about desire versus decisions. So how we know when we've really made a decision to do something, because we can set goals and intentions and who we want to be, how we want to show up, what strategies we're going to use. And when we don't do it, it's usually because we have a desire for something, not made a decision to do it. And along this 90 minutes of this, I'm going to bring into this little small part. We were looking at these unmade decisions in our business. And one of the things I told them, and we've talked about it many times because I always go back to it personally, is I use Father Mike Schmitz, who does the Bible in the Year podcast, his way of discerning. Like he gives you 4 questions. He says, is it a good door to walk through? Like, is it virtuous? Is it in integrity? Is it in alignment with the Bible? Is it an open door? Like, is this available to me right now? Is it a wise door? So wise door would be like, does this fit my family or is it going to hurt my family? Is it wise? Does it fit my responsibility, the season of the life I'm in, those kinds of things? And then is it a door I want? So sometimes when God hasn't told us, like, you need to go sign X amount of clients, you need to build a business and have 100 clients in it. If he hasn't told us that and you're like, Lord, I feel like you're calling me to create this membership and have 100 people in it, or I feel like you're calling me to make this membership, but I just don't know. And we're not sure. And it's not like God always puts out a big billboard for us to go, yeah, that's it right there. When that doesn't happen, we can also just go, is it a door I want? So part of that is this. So when you know it's a door you want. So all this is going through there. We've discerned whatever they're looking at. And I think by this time in that coaching call, we'd gotten to this place where we were talking about numbers of clients, because a lot of my clients, they're like, well, I know I want this membership. I know I want my group coaching. I know I want my one-on-one coaching or whatever it was. And I said, well, what part of that decision are you uncommitted to? Like, where do you still negotiate? That's the word, negotiate with yourself. Like, well, and it was like, well, I negotiate. Do I want 50? Do I want 100 people? Or 40 people? Do I want 5 clients? Do I want 10 clients in the program? And they're negotiating. They are negotiating on their price. Like they just keep negotiating with themselves. They're not settled. And it reminded me, and I told them this, it reminded me of this, we had these moments where we know we've made a decision. I think about it like with the refrigerator. Like, what am I going to cook for dinner? When you don't know, you just kind of open the refrigerator. You're standing there. You're just looking at what's in there, trying to think, what do I have? Maybe you open the pantry and you just stare at it. Versus, I'm cooking spaghetti. You grab the tomatoes, you grab the sauce, you grab your pasta. Maybe you're adding meat, your veggies, or whatever, however you do it. It's, you know what to do. And you just start taking action. That's the decision. That's the difference, okay? So we take different actions and we build a different type of momentum and create different results when we've really made this decision. Now, this is a long way about telling you this. So I know I'm with you, Jan. I wish there was a big billboard. There's not, my friends. There's not, because he is such a gentleman and he loves you. And if it's not going against his word and it's not going against what his plans for you, he's going to let you explore, because he's going to use whatever situation we put ourselves into to grow us. He is. It's beautiful that way. So what I did then, and this is where I'm going, and this is going to all make sense. So I know it's a little long, but just go with this. I had them list out, I went through a bunch of steps that I use after I've gone through those 4 steps of discernment to really make the big decisions that how I made some big decisions that really started moving the needle in my business. Okay. And I went through the long steps I took. I'm not going to go into all this. I'm going to tell you this one though, because it goes back to the David story. I had him list out all the ways God had revealed to me that I could steward what I desired. Because sometimes we desire things and I'm like, yeah, but God, I don't know if you want my program to be that big. And then it's like, I don't know if I could handle it. And but when I look at what are all the ways I have been prepared for that? David had been prepared to fight Goliath, the bear, the lions, all the predators that would come for his sheep. God had prepared him to be the king, to fight Goliath, to become king. He prepared him out there in the hills with the sheep, talking to no one but God. Okay. So what my clients did is they were like, you know what? I've been a teacher. I'm talking about forming a membership with maybe 50 people. And I used to have 80 kids come through my classroom in a day. I very much can take care of it. And it was like, oh, I can do that. Someone else like, well, I'm just wanting, like 10 people in my group program. And I used to run a classroom for 10 years with 20 kids in it every year. And it just started clicking. All the things, ways God had prepared him start coming up. David had been prepared. You have been prepared. So that was the first thing, is God formed him. In my program, I call this formation. It's the first thing we do. How is God forming me? How am I participating in my formation to be the woman that can carry the calling, the woman that can implement the strategy, the woman that can sign the clients consistently, the woman that can run a business like a CEO with repeatable, predictable income, right? Formation. Second thing that we learned from David is David took action, but you're going to love this. Say action in the comments. You're going to love this. He didn't take action everybody else had taken. He took the action God had already grown in him. The skills God had already given him, perfected in him. Okay? Here's what I mean. So often when clients come to me, they're like, and just say yes, like, I know this is you. It's me. It's all of us. Come to me and they have a Google Drive full of folders and folders of different strategies from all these different coaches, all these different programs they've been into, right? You do. You have 5 different people's DM scripts. I know you do, because I do. You have 20 different people's ideas on how to build a whatever freebie or whatever. Okay. You have the 4 or 5 different big 10K coaching programs you've been in. You have all the things you could save and remember from that program. You do. And here's what I'm telling you. It works. Okay. But it only works when you're using your program for you, the strategy entrusted for you to use. That program, that strategy worked for them. So like when my clients come into my program, I don't go, here's your strategy. You start using this. And that's what I would say 99% of programs do. Here's your strategy. Go use it. And let's be real fair. If someone is not very seasoned, they may really need that, right? Right? Someone who might be a little bit younger in the coaching industry or something, hasn't been out on social media very long. And I have resources for that, right? Like if someone's like, well, I don't know how to write a story. Well, sister, I taught it for 20 years. Here you go. Here's a whole big old beautiful bonus module on branded storytelling. right? So you have resources, but we don't have to follow someone else's strategy. We have to follow what God has prepared us to follow. I'm like spitting at the camera now. I hope you can't see it. So we don't just jump up with here's what's new. We have to look at what is a good strategy for you, what's ethical and in integrity and fits who you are, your personality, what is wise for you, what fits your season of life. Okay, because let's be real honest, if your season of life is putting 2 kids through college, I got one in high school and one in college, but I'm about to have 2 kids in college, right? Depending on where my business is, I might not want to run ads. That might not be the season of life for that because I've got expenses over here, or that might exactly be the season of life for that. Okay. Is it available to me? Is it what I want to do? And what we actually talk about in my program is like, how do you like to work? What's worked for you in the past? Why did you stop? Why do you continue this? Those kinds of things. And it's really about finding your system and matching that to your formation. So what David did, so like David, remember he put on Saul's armor. And Saul's like, take my armor. If you're going to go meet the giant, take my armor. Saul's like, and David was like, I'm not doing this. And what did he do? He just took his old trusty slingshot, grabbed him 5 stones. And what we better bet, even though he hit him with the first time right in the center of the forehead, I bet you that shepherd that defends his sheep from wolves and bears and lions could quickly get another stone. I bet he could have gone through all 5 of those. And the fact that he was like, I don't need more than 5. He didn't get 10. He's like, this is what I need, just 5. And he only used 1. Okay. It's 2 sides of the same coin, my friend. Formation and strategy. It is not one or the other. It's how do you say it? It's not faith alone, like who you're being. It's not your formation, because the faith alone doesn't sling the stone, but it's not strategy alone either, right? Because that didn't win the battle. It was David's faith that God's going to give me what I need because I'm going to stand out here and defend him. God didn't want that man talking bad about him either. We got this. It was his faith that allowed him to implement the strategy. Okay? David had both. That's why he stood when everybody else failed. David had both. Okay. So that's what I'm going to tell you today. You need both. You need both. Go back into your Bible today. Pull up Samuel. Read about David. You need both. We all need both. Who is God forming you to be? And the strategy that fits that woman, and be that woman and grow into that woman, whatever that looks like. And it looks different for all of us, right? So inside my Sacred CEO circle, one of the things we work on, we work on being the woman that can carry the calling. We work on choosing the strategy, but then we do this. This is the part no one else does. How do we stick with this strategy long enough for it to compound? How do we reflect and refine and actually get it working? I hear coaches talk about, you got to reflect and refine. But how? But how do you do that? How do you stay with something when you're not seeing the results like you want? How do you become the woman? And then how do you stay with it? Because that's when we get the momentum. That's when the results start to compound. Okay. I love my coaching container so much because it's a real high touch. I came out of being in the classroom. There's no such thing as I cannot be one of those women that is like, don't talk to me unless we're on the calls. I'm like, oh, you need to talk. You need to get on a one-on-one. Let's do it. It's a very high touch container. But I will tell you, this type of strategy is for women who already sign clients, who already know how to have something to bring in there. This is not for newbies. That's what I'm trying to say. This is not for newbies. If you are new, you don't know a strategy to even test, right? You are over here, you're still working on being formed, and you're still building basic skills. This is not building basic skills. This is true bringing in, being the woman that creates the multiple six-figure business, and how to implement that strategy like that woman over and over and over so that it's repeatable. And I'll tell you what I get questions about often is that's great, but can't I just do that on my own? I'm like, absolutely can. But most of us, the thing is we don't. We don't, because I don't know about you, but sis, I need to talk it out. I need to talk it out. I have my talk it out people, right? We need someone else's eyes on our business sometimes. I went to my coach one day and I'm like, this, and I'm like, why am I having trouble with this? This is what I do with my clients. And she's like, we can never see it for ourselves, for our own business. And we know this. This is why you can tell your friends what they need to do with their husband or their kids, but you have your own issue with your kid, right? We know this. When we're emotionally invested, it's different. Right. And I'll tell you too, one of the other things is time. And here's when you are doing this system, and this is for my seasoned people, this is how we're different. One of the reasons I know for me, when I was really like, how do I double my business without doubling my time and my effort? Because that's what this is about. When you actually start being the woman, you start doing the formation. And if you're just jumping on, you're going to want to go back and catch the formation part, because this is where we really talked about it and how God showed us how he formed David first. And then you have your strategy. When you're doing both and you get a repeatable system, you are not constantly reinventing the wheel. You get your time back. You put less energy into the business. Because I don't know about you, but I'm at this place where I'm like, I'll tell you what I got to this place where I'm like, okay, I think I'm finished working. I've only worked 2 hours today. Is that right? And I'm making a list of everything I did. And I'm like, well, those are all the needle moving activities. I guess I'm going to go run that errand and return that stuff to whatever, to return that thing to the mall. It's just been sitting in my car for a week. That's what happens, and you get the time back. That's how it happens. You get the repeatable income and you get the time back, and you make less effort when you are formed for the calling, formed for the strategy, when they're together like David did. That's why he beat the Goliath. So if you're building, your business feels like a Goliath. It's formation and strategy. It is not separate. And too many places keep it separate. So I want to invite you to imagine, instead of clients feeling random and hit and miss, imagine when you have that predictable way. Imagine when you are the woman that can implement not just a strategy, but your perfectly aligned 6-figure, 7-figure strategy, because God has formed you to be that woman and you are just fulfilling your calling. If you're curious how this could impact your business, about formation and strategy, how that works and how to build that repeatable system, just book a time to talk with me. I think it's a pinned comment on Facebook. I will put it in the description on the YouTube. Just book a time to talk with me. And what we'll do, you just click the link, book the time, we talk. It's real simple. Ask me your questions. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about your business. That's all we're going to talk about. We're not talking about my business. We're going to talk about yours. At the end of the call, you'll have clarity around what a repeatable client creation could look like for you. And you'll have the information that you're curious about the circle. Okay. I have room for about 3 calls in the next week. So grab one of those. I have my calendar set where once one call gets booked on that day, no more come up on that day. So you'll see some open times. Grab one and let's talk. It's free, right? When you have that repeatable way, my friends, that's when you get your time back. That's when you stop working so hard. That's when you can actually go, okay, I have a predictable income. I can schedule that vacation or pay all your bills. Or if you're like me, I'm like, how am I going to pay for that college? I got a freshman in college and we're moving to the bigger campus next fall is the plan. And I'm like, oh, that's a lot of money. That's okay. That's okay. We want our kids to have their dreams too, right? Okay. Till next time, my friend, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. You guys have a great day.